All right, can you see, am I sharing my screen properly? All right, Leo. Ninja jumps over the waist level wall, okay. All right, so that looks okay. All right, and then he's gonna catch an arrow that's being shot at him?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that would be fine. So what I would possibly recommend for you is that, oops, hold on. Oh, that's weird. That's the first time that that's worked. You can Command Z in annotating for drawing in Zoom now. All right, so if you were to start out with a full screen here, and that this is about 16 by 9 like that. And I'm just looking at this guy right here, kind of where you got him posed, then that means that this guy would kind of be out of camera here. He would definitely be in the action safe and title safe error zone. So what I would suggest is that you get him to, well, you could do a couple of different things. The first thing that you can do, which might be easier actually, is to have him stand neutral first. Just get him standing neutral. And then take an anticipation before he runs. And really, he's only going to have right foot. And so the left foot is going to go left foot and then left foot, and before he jumps over the wall. So you're only going to really have one big step right here before he jumps over the wall. And when you do this, I think that what might work is that if you get him to jump over the wall and then just cut to a new shot of a close-up of his face, and you could do just like the thumbnails of what that looks like. And remember, he is moving left to right. But what would be happening here is that the camera would be tracking along with him. So the camera would be moving right with him. And so you don't have to worry about a pan or any kind of camera move. But I think that might be fun to just keep him in the center. And if you wanted to, I think that one of the things that you can do is kind of figure out, maybe he's in like he's in the Olympics and there's like an arena back here. With some lights. And I need something right here. So a cloud. And maybe another little cloud over here. Because if he's going to be moving that way, then the clouds in this shot would be moving the opposite way. So remember, he's up in the air now, right? He's flying. And as he's flying, he's going to stay in the same place. He's not going to really do anything. He's just going to stay in place. But the clouds can move to the left. And all you need to do is just copy and paste them and move them just a little bit. The near cloud would move more. And the cloud that's a little further away would move less. So if this cloud was going to move from whatever position on the screen, it might move this much. And this cloud right here would only move about that much. All right, you got that? But the idea would be is that give him a reaction. So, you know, let him do the squash. Right, so do the blink. Do the stretch. So he does an animated take here. And then return to normal. But now he's got all of his concentration. He's even got his little tongue out there, right? So in this shot here, this is shot 2. This is shot 2. You animate just cut. It's you basically cut to shot 2, and then you go to, this is a mid shot, and he's moving. He's not moving, but the clouds are. And then he does his reaction. And as soon as you get this, because we've already done a reaction, so you should know how to do this. You should know all the timing, how many frames before this, and then hold in your basic timing for this pose number 1 right here. Hold this for at least 32 frames. That's only a second and a quarter, and it'll read. And then do the timing for your squash and stretch and settle. So you're going to settle into this kind of a key, and then hold this key for at least 18 frames. And so if you've got the squash, which is 2 frames, and then 2 frames to get from the squash into the stretch, which is 2 frames, and then you're going to settle from this crazy stretch drawing back into the settle with maybe 6 or 8 frames, then the total here would be about 40 or 50 frames total for this shot number 2. And then cut back to this part of him landing. So he's going to land like right here over this wall. But your staging should be is that your drawing should be like this. Actually, let me take advantage of the Command Z, which is brand new to Zoom. So let me, yeah, just a little wider. You know, something like this. Or even, yeah, I think that's fine. So he's more like in the center of the screen. So in this series of keys, he's going to land. And so your script is land, and on the land, there's a squash. And then he's going to recoil, which is kind of a stretch. And then he's going to settle into a new key, which is kind of what this is right here. And so you have the word anticipation, which can be covered with this squash on the landing. Or that he's going to take an anticipation to catch his arrow. That's probably what you're doing, because then you could do this anticipation and the catching of the arrow in this pose right here. So, and what I would suggest is that this arrow probably weighs about 3 ounces. But if it's going 100 miles an hour, it's going to have a certain weight to it. And really kind of look at the idea of how he's going to catch the arrow. And you can, so you have the arrow pointed at his heart. It might be easier for you in the silhouette to get the pose to read so that the arrow is kind of at his face. And so this is like this is the last frame. So I don't think that you need this anticipation to be too crazy. But I think that what you're gonna need here is just that the weight is gonna send him to the left just a little bit. And then recoil backwards. And then bring him back just to this neutral pose right here. At that point, it might make sense to study what it might be like to have a pose where he kind of drops the hand to more of a neutral position. Both arms to more of a neutral position. And he's still holding the arrow. Because at this point, your whole clip is over and you just kind of have to end it. That's all you have to do. So you would have 3 separate shots right there. All right, do you want to take a screenshot of that?
Yeah. I'm good to go. Thank you.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right, Zaylee. Okay. I think you've got everything worked out fairly well. More time here. Are you with me, Zaylee? Zaylee.
Sorry, my internet is cutting out really bad.
Oh, that's okay. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, no, I can't.
You can't. More time here.
Yeah.
Because you blast out of it just a little too fast. Now I can't control this because I can't draw and manipulate a video at the same time. But just more frames right here. Let me get out of this. Yeah, you come out of that just a little too fast. And I think you could do more chopping too. So remember that what we were studying here is the sequencing of things in animation where you can cut on action to any particular shot. And this becomes kind of like a director's preference. Some directors cut on action all the time and it can drive you kind of nuts. Or if you're just going to do a regular cut, then you have to establish what's going on in the shot. And if she's just chopping over here, then the typical cut for this establishing, you're going to need at least 3 beats of animation, and that's 24 frames. So, and you can push this even to 4 beats, which is 32 frames. And that would be fine. You know, you could have her just chopping for 32 frames. And don't be afraid of these numbers because you're just copying and pasting the cycle. And then she turns. And so you have to have the turn and then the reaction. So you're going to do a squash and stretch kind of reaction. That's her take. That's an animated take. Oh, by the way, when you look at the Richard Williams book here for animation, he calls these accents. He was Canadian. I think he was Canadian. Yeah, he was Canadian. and he calls the animated take an accent. But look at what you've got in this shot. I think that one thing that is really imperative here in this shot is that you limit it especially just this shot to something like that. You don't need all this stuff in your first shot. You could, even if you wanted to, push in really close so that you get just the hands, just everything that she's doing right there. That might work the best. And you didn't do a whole lot of work here on the background, but you can use it in the next shot. So let me just leave that there. And then, so yeah, you're going to do the door thing. And then, but this is important. So when she jumps over the counter, I think that you should come a little higher. So I think that this is fine to put her knees on it, but I think that what you want to do is you want to get her to really come up over that counter. And don't be afraid of her head going off the screen. So for this particular shot right here, after the door thing, because this yellow is shot 1, and then the red would be like the beginning of shot 3. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out, because you want her to be in the shot right here. You want to be able to see this. And when she comes to this position, you also want to be able to show her catching the bowl. That's the whole point of the catching gag. And so here's what I would do. I would do this for shot 1, just like a mid shot. And then instead of doing this for shot 3, just bring it out just a little wider. So bring shot 3 so that it shows just like this stuff right here. So that's your shot 3. And that'll be able to show everything. So in the shot 3, when she's jumping over here, I would recommend just letting her come up a little higher. And then that's going to give you an extra couple frames to knock the bowl over. In my first day of this class, when we were talking about the principles of animation, there was a principle called isolationism. And I don't know if you remember that. It's a cinematic thing where the theory is that your eye is going to see whatever's moving on the screen the fastest. And so if you've got her, number 1, jumping over the counter and the bowl falling at the same time, and then she's landing and catching the bowl all at the same time, you're never going to see the bowl. And so what I would recommend is have you break this up into the jump and then the landing, and then so this is 2, and then let the bowl teeter for number 3. So the bowl is kind of like going back and forth. And then number 4 would be her catching the bowl. And in the timeline in Rough Animator, you cut into shot 3 and you give yourself an 8-frame handle. And then the jump, which is going to be quick. So that includes an anticipation. And the jump. And then the number. And then the bowl is, included in this is the landing. So after so the landing, and then the bowl itself can be going back and forth. And if you look at it in the timeline here, this is 8 frames. And the number of frames for the jump, which includes the anticipation and the actual dynamics of the jump and the landing, may only take 18 frames plus or minus. It's not going to be that many frames. And so right now you're only into the shot for a total of 26 frames total. And so if you have 24 frames of this bull just going back and forth, just try it. Just trust me. If this bull is going, and imagine that it's not just going back and forth, imagine that it's kind of spinning. And so while it's spinning, you can do those little motion lines on it. And you're only going to need maybe 5 drawings or so of the bull just rocking up and down and getting the little motion lines on it. And then it falls. So as it falls, that's only going to be a couple frames. So it's only going to need like a bouncing ball, right? You're only going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 frames total. And then the catch. So what you're doing is you're isolating these things. You're isolating the handle, you're isolating the jump, you're isolating the bull wiggling, you're isolating the fall, and you're isolating the catch, so that if this fall is only 6 frames total and the catch is only 8 frames total, maybe, then you're only into this for 52 frames total, plus or minus. And remember that the handle is not animated. The bowl is just 4 or 5 drawings, just kind of cycling back and forth. The fall is just like a bouncing ball. The catch is there's only a couple of drawings that you really have to kind of think about. And that gets you into this shot right here. So then you have to decide if you want her to pause for a second. And I would say a full second of just kind of looking, that pose we drew last week, a pause before she takes off and runs away. All right, so that would be my suggestion. You just got a little bit too much real estate off on the left. All right, did you want to take a screen grab of that?
Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank
Okay. I don't know if this is for today. RJC2, Hannah? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
that's it. I got run, jump, yeah, catch.
This the right one?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's
yeah,
just
that's all I got at the
you're
moment.
laying it out right
I-
now. Okay, so that's good. I think this should be faster. You're on 2s for the run? That's a
I think
question.
I'm on 4. I think I'm on 4. I might have dropped them down to 2s.
All right, so let me, do you have a file open right now?
Sure, actually I do.
I want you to do gymnastics. I want you to do 10 jumping jacks. Wait, what? I want you to drop it to 2s.
Yeah,
And
they're
I
on
want you to
4s.
tell me if the timing looks better.
Okay. Just for the whole run sequence?
Just for the
part?
run. Yeah, just for the run.
Yeah, maybe. It might be a little fast. I don't know.
Well, this run right here is too slow. So
Okay.
what you can do, so now go back and
I'll
you have to
just
watch,
trust
you have to watch the monitor. You have to watch the monitor. So for this first pose, the very first pose, you're only holding it for like, how many drawings for this first pose right here?
I've got it for, I think it's on 8. Yeah, the
Take it
first
to-
2 frames were
Take it
on
to
8.
16. Take this first drawing
Okay.
to 16.
Yep. I think it's because it's strobing that I think it's going faster than it actually.
That's okay. Take this very first pose and hold it for 16 frames. That's only 2 beats. All right, and then the anticipation pose, how many frames do you have it on for?
8.
Okay, that's good. And then this frame right here, I don't know what I did. Hold on. So, and so this frame is on for how long? That's good.
2.
How many?
2.
Okay, so now take that up to 6. Okay?
Yep.
And then the next drawing is this one. And how many is this one on for?
I just changed it to 2s, I think.
So that one's on for 2. Take this one to 4.
Yeah, that one's on 2s.
Take this one to 4.
2s. No, it's-
Okay,
Okay, 4. Okay.
4.
Sorry, I was breaking out.
And then let the others be on 2. Let this one and this one and this one and the rest of them be on 2s. And now play it and tell me how you like it.
Yeah, that's a lot better now.
Yeah, I have a knack for redirecting timing like this. It was one of the things that I learned very early and very well. And one of the other teachers at the Art Institute and even at the Academy, it's like, how did you do that? And I'm like, what? Well, they were complaining because, well, they weren't complaining. They were complimenting me in a condescending kind of way, which is very prevalent at the Academy, about me helping one of the students who was not in my class. I had a storyboard class and they were just asking me about animation and I gave them some tips and it was just on timing. And it's like, she's been struggling all semester long and then she talked to you and she figured it out. I've been yelling at her for weeks. I'm like, I don't know, stop yelling at me. It's just one of those things that, and on top of that, I know that it's not that easy for you. After doing this for 20 years, I know that it's not an obvious visual thing for you all to just kind of pick up and run with. If someone does pick up and run with it, I'm like, hey, what studio have you worked at before? Okay, so now what I want to look at is this. I want to see how many frames you have that are where the character's off in this shot. How many frames of nothing right there? How many frames of
I
nothing?
have 8.
8? Okay,
frames,
that's
so
fine.
it was-
That's fine. All right, and then you cut to this. How many frames of nothing right here?
4.
4. I think it'll be okay. What technically happens, and if anyone else is listening, what technically happens is that this is technically Hannah's shot number 2. And I'm going backwards right now. This is your shot number 2. So technically what happens is that this handle is only 4 frames long, but because it's adjacent, it's right next to this handle, it's a total of 12 frames. So your character runs off the screen, 8 frames of nothing, and then 4 frames of nothing, and you really should have a different background. Just give yourself a simple color card or something, and then be ready to extend this handle, this 4-frame handle to 8 frames or 12 frames if it looks like it's going too fast. Right now, we really can't see if it's going too fast because not all the drawings are in there. It might be going too fast. Just try this right now. Take this handle right here, and take it up to 12 frames. You had it on for 4, take it to 12, which is a beat and a half. And then play it. Tell me what you see.
I won't be able to see it from start to finish because I made 2 files, but I'll play it.
Oh, okay. All right, so that's what I'm seeing right there. Your jump looks fine. Your jump looks fine. If you wanted to improve the jump, there's one thing that I do see that you
Yeah, I
might be.
couldn't get the crouch right. It didn't. I don't know. That might
Well,
not be
it's
the thing, but
you're not getting it right because you can't see the feet.
yeah, I was gonna ask, should I just have it zoomed out as he's jumping and then?
This is one of those things that's completely up to you.
Yeah, I think I'll have to decide because
Yeah, I
I
think-
missed the part where there's no feet to see crouching and jumping.
But here's what I would suggest. What you've got is a character that has a volume in the head and a line of action for the body. And when you're taking this anticipatory position here, remember that you can add squash to this. And remember that when you're adding squash, one of the default timings is that your squash drawing should always be on for just 2 frames. Very rarely is a squash drawing on for 3. And I would almost say never for 4. And the 3 frames, it's just like, it's more impactful. And also never just 1. Never 4, never 1. Most anticipations are on for 2 frames. And if you're in Maya, sometimes this frame gets passed over because what you're doing is you're kind of in betweening it. And so your squash is here. And then you have one particular, let's just say it was drawing 17 here. And this squash was supposed to be on for drawing 19. And then drawing number 21 was over here. So this was the arc in Maya, right? And what happens is that if you don't put the 8, so this is drawing 17. If you don't put the 18 drawing, if you put the 18 drawing right in the middle, and then the 20 drawing right in the middle of this arc, then that puts this 19 all by itself as 1 frame. And a lot of times if you're looking at stop motion or the Maya animation, you might not see that squash as strong as you might have liked because it's technically being passed over really quickly. And so a typical 2D animator is going to take frame number 17, write a chart out for 19 and go, I want to take 18 and do an extreme favor on frame 18. And that becomes a breakdown. And if you let 20 be a straight in between, then that still isolates 2 distinct frames for frame 18 and for frame 19 on the squash, remembering that Maya is going to do these drawings for you. Maya is just going to do those in-betweens for you. And if depending on what you're doing, if this character is going to jump, Maya could even do all of these drawings too, where this would be 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, and 31 would be the next key. That Maya can do all of this. Or you can go back into the graph editor and say, I want to ease in, I want to ease out. Do you know any Maya yet?
Yeah, I did a little bit of my
So
animation.
so could be taken care of in your graph editor. And in your graph editor, you would force Maya to put the 18 position closer to 19 so that it isolates the key. That's what I'm saying. And so having said that, So having said that, I think that the other thing that will make this stronger is that I see that this is the center volume of the head. And I see that you've got kind of a core volume for the body. It's kind of a little bean shape like this. And if the character is having come in from off screen, and it's going to take this anticipation, which is the squash position, you're going to isolate it for at least 2 frames. You need the arc. You definitely need this arc. And so that's for the center of the head position. It's up to you whether you want to continue the same orientation, or if you want to have the body swing forward a little bit. That's completely up to you. But you're going to have to pick at least by this position on the screen. So having said that, your arc, let me just do this. Your arc is too straight. Your arc is just straight. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Your arc is like this. There's no arc. Watch.
Okay, yeah, it was just like definitely on the crouch, and then that bit where he just starts up, that it just really looked weird, and then it just kind of floats. We'll get straight.
So now I'm back in QuickTime. Watch. Your head is going to go straight along. Well, that's the anticipation. See how it goes straight?
Yeah.
Get this arc working in there. It'll work better. And I think that because your character shows its feet in the jump, that you don't have to worry about pulling out. You don't have to worry about camera position. Just make sure you get the timing and the arc done correctly. And this is kind of unsettling. All right, you got those notes?
Yep, got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Zaylee, is this the same drawing or the same? We're in the keys for week 16. That's today.
I just, the thing I submitted earlier, that's all I have.
All right, I'll just take a look at this. Oh, hold on. Yeah, this is the same thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that one thing that you could do, and this is just up to you. And the only reason I thought of this is because you have a really nice, oh, sorry. You have like a nice running pose right here. And this made me think of it. And so what you could do is you could have a shot 4. We got shot 1, shot 2, shot 3. She leaves, and remember that I'm saying shot 4 because my suggestion was to restage this catch of the bowl to something about like that. So it might be fun to take shot 4 and do her like running in place. So and this is just completely up to you, but whether you want to try this or not. And so in shot 4, well, let's go backwards a little bit. In shot 3, which is right here, this is the left side of shot 3. And in the left margin, in the left edge of the shot, she just leaves. She's out, gone. And then do a pause. Do a handle, do 16 frames of nothing. Or even 24. This is 2 beats, this is 3 beats. If you wanted to pause for 32 frames, which is 4 beats, that would be fine. Because my suggestion would be is to use this as shot 4 and just do a run in place, but change it so that she's looking behind her. She's running that way, but she's looking that way. And then you know what's going to happen, right? So the timing would be is that you have her running in place, and the total duration of that could just be 2 seconds plus or minus. 2 seconds plus or minus, probably more actually. And then stage it so that while she's running in place, that the actual edge of the frame is more like this. And while she's running in place right here, while she's running in place, she's technically going that way, right? Her body is moving this way, which means that the background would be moving that way. And so you can just do a bunch of blur lines that are moving from this position to this position. And they're just swishing by, shoot, 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 and they're just blurred. Use the same colors, use the black and white floor, and take these little pans on the wall and make them crooked. Take these little spoons on the wall and make them crooked. Everything's crooked. The cabinet's crooked. Everything's crooked. The lines on the cabinet doors is crooked, and just come up with one simple set of lines that animates from this position about halfway. Oops, sorry. And then back into the next position. So if you just wanted to use like these pots and pans, that just get it, it would be, instead of trying to do this, just do the little blur lines, the little diagonal blur lines. It'll be easier. Just do the diagonal blur. And then after she's running in place, have her smash against the wall. And that's up to you. So it would be fun if you did this running in place, because you've already got it. It's only going to be 8. Oops. It's only going to be 8 or 10 drawings on 2s. So, and then just consider that you interrupt this background, and then all of a sudden there's a wall, and then she just squashes and stretches right into the wall. It's just something to think about. Consider it. This is what we already saw, Hannah. RJC2.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, only up to 1.
Brianna. Okay. Play it again. So I think this is working pretty well. You've got a fairly good handle on the timing. I'm gonna take the loop off. Okay, I think you've got a pretty good handle on the timing here. Let me just see what other suggestions I can give for you. So one of the things that you may want to just, the next thing that you may want to do is within these frames right here is to make sure that we, the audience, know that your character's looking behind them, right? Make sure that we know that for all these frames, that when the character goes up the wall, catches the ball, and even lands back, that the character's looking at the ball. So let me. And then here, the character would definitely be watching the ball. Go into the mitt. Right, so the ball is going to go into the mitt. Now let me do that thing again. Okay, yeah, you got that. You got the head turn, and that's good. That's subtle. And the landing, okay. Okay, good. I think that you've got a pretty good handle on the timing. It looks like it's on 6s and 8s. Or maybe just one little suggestion here, so that you kind of, instead of, so go from this pose into more of a, oh, right? He's just like, he can't believe it. So he tilts his head backwards and closes his eye and opens his mouth. And so this is a good intermediate breakdown expression, but end on maybe something that looks like that, where he tilts his head backwards and he just like, oh, I can't believe it. All right, got that idea?
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you, Brianna. All right, let's take a break. Take 20. All right. Damien. Pencil test for Damien. All right, just a couple of thoughts here. So what I think that the first thing that just kind of strikes my eye, well, there's a hiccup right here where you have the ball squashing and stretching on whatever this frame is, and then it continues, but it stutters. See a little stutter right there? Don't do this. It's technically where the ball is supposed to be moving the fastest. And so just from your plan here, and Damien, I think you're with us, right? Today? Yeah, you're here. Damien.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so I can see by your drawings that you say faster, right? And then the same thing goes here. So you're easing out of this position, you're easing into this position at the top, you're easing out of this position. But as you go through this, it looks like you drew the ball where you wanted it to be, but then you add that position, and that slows the ball down. So right from your map, I think that you should follow your layout more closely, because that ball right there slows down the motion of the ball. And then you've got and so this should be the squash drawing, but then you've got it on for another one, and then another one, and another one. So you've got 4 drawings right here, and that's just upsetting the timing of your ball. So you feel it like shudder around right there. So the first thing that you have to do is fix that. But I would do a couple of things. So right with the idea of that we were talking about earlier about isolationism, is that, and I think you've got a pretty good idea. But let me ask you this first, because was it your intent that this is not a ball, that it's more of like a character?
Not quite.
All right, so I would do a couple of things, and I would probably do them simultaneously. So the first thing that I would do is give yourself a better, maybe even a bigger character to work with. The head, give himself a little body. It doesn't have to be like exact human proportions, but give him the head, the neck, the body. Give him some legs to play around with. Give him some feet. Spend a few moments so that you can see what the actual structure of the character is looking like. Give him a good silhouette, right?
Okay.
Give him a good silhouette. So you don't have to draw the fingers, but draw where you think the hands are going to be. I also think that it's probably important for him to kind of be trying to guess where the ball is. So if he's right here, maybe that ball is right here. Because I think that you're going to need to do a couple of things. First of all, this is a pretty big ball. This would be the size of the beach ball if this was the size of your character that I drew. If it was the size of the character that you drew, then this thing becomes like a double or a triple beach ball. And so one thing that you may want to do is just get the ball to be smaller. Get your guy to be a little bigger, and get your ball to be smaller. And the first thing that you would want to do is pay attention to your own arc. And now if you're going all the way back to day 1 of our animation class, remember that this arc here is actually repeated on the left side. We just don't see it. And so that the traveling distance on your second bounce is about right. But make sure that the arc is, symmetrical. But then your third bounce should be half of this. So that's just kind of the mechanics. So if it's here, then it should be, this third bounce should be like this. And remember that it should be a little bit less than half as well. And then the last bounce would be like this. So make the correction to your ball first. And get the timing for the ball just the way you want it, so that if your timing is easing out of a position, so it's speeding up. And you could use that, you might not even want to use that position. Just get the timing to work on the arc, and then add your stretch, squash, stretch, and get that timing right. And then remember that if this is the way you figure out the timing for the other arc, is that this is the ball before the stretch, this is the stretch. And so it loses momentum. So then get it to come to its natural top, then copy this across, so pay strict attention to the timing of the ball. And remember, don't do any squash and stretch on the second or third bounce. You only need it on this one. And then get these positions correct. Just nail down the idea and the timing for your ball first. And then you're gonna, this is where the ball is reaching the apex, the top of the second arc. This is where your guy should be jumping for it. So if that's the timing, then you may have a little problem, because let's say that you have, let's say your ball is completely just on 2s, and that you have a handle over here, an 8 or a 16 frame handle, which doesn't quite count. But then you've got, well, it counts in terms of what ball this comes into frame on. So if you have a 16 frame beat of nothing, then this is ball number 17. And then 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 31, 33, 35 is squash or stretch. 35, 37 is squash, 39 is stretch again. And then you have 41, 43, 45, 47, 49 is right here. That's the top of the arc. Copying on the other side, 51, 53, 55, 57, 59, 61, 63, 65 is the top of the arc. 67, 69, 71, 73, 75, 77, 79, and then you can have it roll. And so what that gives you is a sense of timing here, because you want him to hit this, to try to catch the ball at this position. But remember too, that in this position, that's where the ball is moving the slowest. So on this arc, it's slowing in right there, which actually gives your character a better chance to actually catch the ball, would be right here. And you have to time it perfectly so that he tries to catch the ball right here, but he misses it because the ball is at this position already by the time he jumps. And so if you do this at 49, 51, 53, this is like frame 55, then that means that you go backwards along the timeline, and that he should be jumping to catch the ball get his knees down, his feet up, some kind of pose like this. And this is frame 55 for your guy. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
All right, and so let me come on. I'm going to put this in purple. So what this pose would look like is his head is here. His line of action should be like this. That means his body should be arced like this. And then his leg is down. lower leg is up, foot is down, lower leg is down. This is his left foot up like that. And then his arm is here, reaching for the ball. Remember, the ball is right here. And then his other arm goes through his head. So he's kind of reaching for the ball right there. This is your main keyframe, is frame 55. But what you have to do is you have to nail down the timing for the ball first, because then by 57, he starts to fall himself. And remember that when the ball gets faster when it goes towards the ground because it's accelerating, so too does your guy. And so you have to figure out if he's gonna jump at this position right here. So he's gonna take a step, and a step to jump. This might be a lot of movement here. You might want to just kind of take this down to just one step like that. And then you're going to have to go backwards. You're going to have to make sure that he hits this pose correctly. Again, I think you should draw the guy a little bigger so that this is where the foot is landing and the other foot is up in the air. And at this point, you have to figure out how many frames. So this would be, if we draw an arc for the feet placement and the jump itself, if this is frame 55, then we're going to go backwards. Then this would be like frame 53. And then this would be frame 51. Then you could keep this as fairly even timing. This would be 49. This would be 47. And so going backwards then on twos, this would be 45, 43, 41. And this is not me drawing those lines. This is Zoom doing those weird little lines right there. And so this would be like frame 37 or something like that. So if this is frame 55 right here, then let's just go backwards. So we saw that this was frame 49 right here. And so 37 would be right here, because we were talking about squash, stretch, squash, right? So that is your next keyframe going backwards. And at 37, he's here. So that's a better sense of timing. And you figure that out just by getting your bouncing ball working first and doing a much better job at the arc. Remember, you've done this before. You should know that the declination of energy is just about like this. If this is the height of the first bounce, the second bounce should be just a little above half to make it look realistic. And if this is the length of the first bounce, then the second one should be just a little less than half. That's just a normal ball. Any other kind of ball is just a little bit too energetic. All right, so we'll take a screenshot of this. And let me know when you got it. Got it?
Yeah.
So that would be my attack on this. Run, jump, and not catch. That's fine. He doesn't have to catch the ball. That's fine. You know what you could do, which could be funny, and I know that you're always trying to be funny, right? Is that you could remember you made this mistake right here of this ball right here. Was it this one or this one? I think it was this one. The one
It was the second one.
This one, it was wiggling around right here. And I think it was just an honest mistake, right? But because I kind of guessed that ball was sentient, that you could bring that back into play here. So you have the ball, you have an 8 or 16 frame handle, The ball comes in, it's bouncing, the guy jumps, he doesn't catch it, he falls right here, right? He's gonna be splattered. His legs are gonna be up in the air, he's gonna be dead. He's dead. And the ball is gonna land right here. Once the ball lands right here, it might be fun to just hold him for a few beats and then have him jump up in the air and kind of wiggle around and then just shoot off like he was a bat or something. Just to play with the idea that the motion here was a bouncing ball, but now he's a character. See if
Okay.
that works. All right. And you want to take a screenshot of that one too, so you have it?
Got it.
All right, thanks. All right, so
My
now-
latest is number 3.
I see, oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So when you put that up there, did you take the other two down? Did you delete?
No, I just uploaded it over on
Re-
top of.
How do you do that?
It just says new attempt, and then I think I'm not really sure exactly what it does, but I guess it does it.
Okay.
Like-
I was just curious because the file was living there and yeah, unless you deleted it, it should still be there.
I think it's still there. I heard from other classes they.
Oh, you're right, because it might be from the other day or the other time.
I know. I uploaded a multiple.
No, look, it's there. This is
Okay.
2. This
Okay,
is
cool.
1. I just think it's weird because they should show me all 3. That's okay.
Oh,
That's okay. All right, so you got a soccer game going on.
Mhm.
He's the goalie.
Yep.
Man, as soon as that sun goes down in San Francisco, it gets cold up here, man.
Mhm.
All right, sorry, I'm thinking, and at the same time, I'm trying not to hurt myself. Because the last time I tried to think, I blew a dendrite. All right, squash, jump. All right, so I do see one thing that's just kind of a little bit troublesome, and then that is that by the way you have staged this, and I won't draw just for a moment, I'll just put my mouse right here. By the way that you have the layout, he doesn't have to jump. If the ball is coming down like this, he just needs to pause. He technically doesn't need to jump in order to catch that ball. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see.
So there's a couple of things that you can do. Hopefully you haven't invested a huge amount of time
No, not in
on
that.
this. All right, so one suggestion would be is to kind of redo everything. Because you really haven't invested a lot of time. And so he's a goalie for a soccer team. And so give yourself kind of the Now, I know that soccer fields don't have lines on them like this. These are people. Because I think that this will be a better stage for you. If you want, you can investigate what the actual field looks like to make sure that it reads like a soccer field. I forget what the other markings that are here. And then plan on the goalie being in the, oops, I wanted blue. Plan on the goalie being in the middle. And he's standing there ready. Yeah, this tool is not behaving itself. And so what you can do is plan out your verbs. So he's ready. And then he reacts, which is the anticipation. And then he runs, jumps, catches, lands. And so I kind of picked this because even this is one of those things that we talked about with the run cycle. If you remember, sometimes it's a little bit easier to get things to come up into perspective because every drawing is a little different. You just kind of have to pay attention because you want him to take us. He's going to take his anticipation. So that means he's going to want to move backwards just a little bit. You know, he's going to move backwards for his anticipation, and then he's going to take 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, jump, and land. And so you can draw these little arcs out here so that they get a little bigger, right? And then it'll probably read for you a little better. If you lay it out so that you can see that the whole head, the whole body is kind of growing as he gets a little closer to the camera, it might work out for you that it is truly a little easier to draw. You know what I mean? So this would be your jump here. The catch would be up in the air and the landing would be like that. So, and just see if that works a little better for you just in terms of planning.
Okay.
You want to take a screenshot of that?
Mhm. Okay.
Got it? I wanted to do one thing before we continue, and I'm going to pause. Ran to center field. He didn't even stop. He caught the ball, and just 1 frame after he caught the ball, he hit the wall and just like collapsed in pain. It might be good for timing reference. And that's always a good thing for anybody to do research. You always should be doing research. All right, let me go back to here. All right, Randy.
Yeah, my computer did something weird. Can you hear me?
Yeah, barely.
Yeah, my computer did something weird. It rendered everything out spot with only 2 frames, and then I try to do it again. I reopened up Rough Animator, and it just like completely did something weird. It just got rid of all my drawings and replaced it with the like purple. So I'm actually
you-
redoing it right now.
Are you on a laptop?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so you've only got a couple drawings in there. All right, so what is your plan? He's gonna run. He's gonna catch
He's-
something.
Yeah, he's gonna run, catch, or run, jump, catch, and turn, or run, turn, catch.
Okay. The
Yeah.
more, can you share your screen? Or no, wait, you said you say you lost part of your work.
I lost like 90% of it. I'm actually redoing it right now.
All right, so I can't comment on stuff I don't see. So let me think about this for just a moment.
I mean, I still have all my notes from last week. So
Right.
yeah, I'm just kind of redoing it from there again.
All right, but there's stuff in here, so. Elise,
Yes.
this one's new, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so my first impression is that all of your timing is the same. Without looking at it again, this is what I saw. I saw step, 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 run, step, catch. It was like all timed the same. And so
Yeah.
in order to break this up, I think that what you want to look at is as soon as he starts in motion and goes off the screen,
I haven't added the wings to the butterfly.
let him go off the screen. What, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I haven't added the wings or anything to the butterfly, but
Okay, okay. You know, so this is an idea right here about the butterfly fluttering around. But the innate layout problem is that you've got all the action happening. This, remember, one field is action safe. And then another field inside it is title safe. And so if you look at the two fields on the inside of everything you're drawing, you should always try to keep, sorry, the lines are scratchy. You should try to keep all of your action happening inside that. And this butterfly is outside that area. So are you planning on just adding to this, or are you gonna try to clean it up on another level?
oh, like adding more frames in between.
No, I mean like drawing over this and cleaning it up and so that he has two ears.
Yeah, this is a sketch, more of a sketch,
So you're gonna redraw this?
essentially.
All right, so a couple of things then. For especially with the sequence right here where he runs and then comes up into the camera.
Mm.
My intuition would be is that go into a rough animator and on any particular frame, just use the marquee tool and move him over so that this frame starts about right here. So move him well inside, and that means that he would leave the frame right here. So move it over to the right a little bit. And then you can play with the idea of this butterfly just going back and forth a couple of different times. And that's your handle, 8, 16, or 24. Now this is weird. I'm picking my pencil up, but it's like giving me cursive. I don't like that.
So you want like you mean 8 frames or whatever of sort of the beginning where the bear is just looking at the butterfly?
Yeah, 8 or 16 frames of the butterfly just going back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted. I didn't leave enough
Um,
room.
I also think that if you are gonna put a tie down pass on this, consider using a better line of action for your bear.
Uh-huh,
You know, give him a belly or whatever. And then give him separate feet so that he's got.
yeah,
I'm
movement.
having trouble with this drawing tool. This is a line. I don't know why it's doing this to me. Head.
Jack,
What's that?
I kind of didn't know like too much how to do like much more than the little bear standing there, like how to make it look more than that, just that, I guess
Yeah.
having 2 feet would look good.
Well, just give it like, I think it would be better if you use in the 3/4 view. And then
Um,
you can use the same animation as long as you're selecting and moving things over the same amount. Like if you know that it was exactly an inch, then all of those frames, however many there were, 16 or 24 drawings, then just move those all over for the same amount. By the time your bear gets up into camera and he's coming off the screen, put a pause right here. Because technically, if you were to draw a map of your environment and you were to say, okay, I've got some trees back here, they're really big, I've got some smaller trees, I've got this tree over here, I've got another bigger tree here, these bigger trees right here, and your bear is right here. So I'm just going to write the letter B. And this is like a stump, right?
yeah,
And your stump is like right in the middle of the screen. And so what's happening is that the bear is playing around with his new friend. And so he's going to interact here and he's going to take a step and he's going to run towards the camera. And then the butterfly leads him and he's going to come around. And so this loop right here is out of the camera. If the
Right.
camera is right here, where it really is, then all of this stuff happens behind the camera's point of view. This is your 180-degree rule here. And so you could calculate all of the positions where the bear is running. He's going to like 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 steps. 12 or 14 steps on 2s is 28 frames. Take it to 32 frames of him holding there as he goes off the camera. So right now, I think you have him coming on way too fast.
yeah,
He comes back way too fast. So take that back down to 32 frames.
32, okay.
Yeah, give him a 32 frame pause before he does anything. And then I think that, do you want to take a picture of that?
Okay. I got a picture.
So let me go back to the QuickTime movie. So that's 32 frame pause. That's the pause, right? And then it comes back in. Put another pause right here. Because right now he's kind of going this way. And then he's changing directions here. And so whatever he's doing, let the butterfly do its thing on its timing, but put another second pause right here. Because then that's the anticipation for jumping over the stump. So I would do a couple of things. One is that I think that you do have a fairly decent vanishing point where your horizon is like right here. And then your perspective grid is right there. But take this log and put it in better perspective. So get the end of the log, get it to go smaller, get some grass. It's been there for a while, right? Get some grass to be growing up, some weeds. You could even make sure that your audience knows it's a stump by doing like a little spiral. You could put the little branch that's still on it, maybe even another one back here or something, and some bark on it. So that gives it a little 3D depth. And then that'll help guide you with the actions for how many steps he needs to take before he jumps over the log. And it becomes more believable as long as this is in perspective. So if you're following this, and you only need to do a couple of things. One would be is to get Zoom to behave, is to like give yourself a motif for what a little clump of grass might look like. And then over here, back in perspective, it gets smaller. And then back even smaller, it's like that, it becomes your icon for what a little tuft of grass might look like. I'm trying to draw it precisely, but Zoom is kind of messing it up. And
Yeah.
then you could do the same thing with any other details that are in your shot, like a rock. So if you've got like a couple of little pebbles, you could do the same thing over here where those pebbles are just one of them, and maybe it's just a dot right there. So that gives you a foreground, a feeling of foreground, a feeling of midground, and then a feeling of background. With the idea being is that your stump is his obstacle, and that's what he has to jump over. All right, you want to take a picture of that too?
Yeah.
Let me
Got
know
it.
when you got it. Got it? All right, so I like this little jump and roll. That's fine. And I think the timing on it is okay too. Let me just check the timing of that. Great, there's your pause, comes back in. So let's do that one more time. Pause, 3, 2, and back in again. Pause, jump. So, and then, but when he's rolling here, give yourself more time on that on the roll. So he falls on his belly and then rolls away from the camera so that we see his belly, and then he rolls on his back. Give yourself more time on the few drawings that you have between the landing on his belly and the position where he rolls over. And I think that what you want to do is you kind of want to be careful, because he's rolling over, he's rolling from his belly onto his back, but he's also rolling to the right just a little bit more. He's rolling to the right. So I say you want to be careful, because you might end up like giving yourself way too many drawings to do if he lands on his belly and then he rolls to his right. I mean, it's kind of a technical thing. You might want to try to get him to just land on his belly and roll over, as opposed to scooting to the right just a little bit. And
I
I
was
think
kind of
that,
trying to have him roll on his side. I don't know if you can tell, like roll on his shoulder and then roll over.
Yeah, it's fine, but the thing is that when he's on his side, you see where my mouse is right here?
Yeah.
So, but then in the next drawing, you have his feet way over in the right.
Yeah.
So the idea would be that he has
Rolling.
just moved 3 feet further away from camera and 3 feet further to the right.
He's a fast roller.
He's a fast roller. Well,
The high roll.
he's a high roller. In my estimation, you would need five drawings in order to get that roll working correctly. And it might
Okay.
be easier to just
Flip him over.
land on his side and just roll over. So
Yeah.
the other idea would be is that, remember we were talking about moving this over to about right here. And so that means if your butterfly is cycling back and forth right here, flutter, 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 use the same motif at the end. And the bear is just kind of sitting there, he's doing his thing, right? And he's got his little feet up, and the butterfly is just going back and forth again over here.
Yeah.
So just to end it with the same kind of notion.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Elise.
Thank you.
Moses. You're being quiet today. Moses,
I have a file I just haven't submitted because I didn't get everything working. Do you want to just
Well, you
submit that
have
right
two
now?
of them right here. You have
wait.
HT1 and RC1.
Oh wait, yeah, that was the head turn and running a cycle, but I do have something for the keys due today.
Are those files that were missing from before?
Yes.
Sorry, my door is right there and I heard the lock click. Thought I might have had a raccoon at my door. All right, so this is to take a look at these. Okay, I think this is pretty good. More time here. More time right here. It's always a mistake that beginning animators make, is to try to rush through things. Let him really think about what he's doing here. For whatever frame this is, let him sit there for 36 frames. It could even be as close to 2 seconds, 48 frames. Somewhere between 32 and 48 frames of him thinking right here. Right?
Mhm.
So let's go back. I'm just going to go back to the beginning and watch. I'll try to pause it right when he goes there. Pause, think, and then let him continue. And that was like almost 3 seconds. I'll do it again. At least 36 frames, maybe even 48 frames. And then you've got it. So that the other dynamics look pretty good. What is the eye darts for? What was he looking at?
He's just trying to make sure he's like seeing everything correctly because he's like still shocked.
Well, it looks pretty good. I think that because you've got the eye darts going on so quickly, that it looks like he's tracking something like a bug in the air. And I think that what might work here is that if he kind of just moves up, thinks for a moment, moves down, thinks for a moment, looks up. And so let those be longer too.
Mhm.
Let those be longer. So 2 separate timing suggestions for you right there. Otherwise, that looks pretty good.
All right.
And this is just your running loop. Okay, it looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks technically pretty good. Yeah, now you just got to get the other stuff caught up for your final, right?
I submitted something under keys for week 16, which is
All
the
right, let's
keys that I
take a
have
look
right
at it.
now.
Let's take a look at it. No, that was weird. I thought I am on week 16. All right, let me go backwards. Was it this one?
It was under the assignment titled keys for week 16, parentheses 12th May.
Ooh, you did a 2D camera move on me right there. All right, so you've got a couple of things that are just really good, but they're a technical nightmare in terms of just 2D animation. But I'm going to let you go with it because I think you've got most of the handle on it. The first thing that you want to do is you want to hold this more. Take this first pose, let him blink, right? And then just hold this for a bit longer, a whole second longer. He doesn't have to do anything, just let him hold there. All right, so that's a great anticipation. And by the way, if anyone is noticing, when Moses has his character come to the full position of the anticipation, it is almost off the screen. You know, it's tangential to the very edge of the screen. Sometimes that's allowed because it's a bounce. He's going to bounce out of that pose. One thing that you could do is, if you're going to tie this down, is to experiment with him going completely off the screen with his hand. You know, don't be afraid to just get that hand to go off the screen. All right, and then he runs, and you've got this object that he's going to jump over, animating in 3 dimensions. So a couple of things for you. So when this started out, this wall was like over here, and then it animated and it was up here. And now that it's here, let it go to the same vanishing point.
Mhm.
So add that little bit in there.
All right.
And then, because you haven't drawn a lot, for these frames right here where he's falling, so that's where it is in the middle. You don't need perspective on that per se, but on this one, oops, sorry. On this one, get this line going and then continue it, at least for one more drawing. So take this and put it over here and let it go to the left just a little bit more. And you could even do one more if you really were into it. All right, so let's take a look at the clip in its entirety one more time. So yeah, you've got that 2D, 3D camera zoom on there. So that part at the end just happens just a little too fast. So tell me if you have the file open right now.
Yes, I have it up.
So I wanted to know what frame number this drawing is.
Which one is it?
He's lying, he's caught the Frisbee.
Oh, okay. I'm actually not sure how I check the frame, which frame that
We'll
is.
just go into your project and find that drawing of the guy and tell me how long it's holding for.
Oh, it's 3 frames, I think.
Okay, yeah, so this has got to be at least 8 frames.
All right.
At least 8 frames. And then this frame, so that's the first frame where we see the word zoom. How many frames is this holding for?
That was also 3.
So make it 8. And then this one, make it 12. 8, 8, 12. And then this one, 16.
12 and 16.
8, 8, 12, 16. And you'll find the last one is 24. So that slows down that camera move. You got those notes?
Yes.
Because right now, and then let him come back up to speed at the end. It looks like he's eating an apple. Is that his hand?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a thumbs up.
So hold the, get that camera move. Yeah, and then slow that at the end. And then the drawings that are right here, when he opens his eyes, that can be the same kind of timing.
Mhm.
Yes, he did it. But remember that because his feet are, so he's fallen down on his back right here. And I suggested with this arrow right here,
Mhm.
that you're going to move the wall just a little bit to the left, which would, so his feet would be like, if you look in the monitor, his feet would be like this far from the wall,
Mhm.
well, 1.5 feet or something. But as the zoom that you want to do happens, you're going to have to draw this wall continuing to move to the left.
Mhm.
Use the same vanishing point in the very middle on the horizon, but then you're just going to get the wall to move here. And then here. Right, same vanishing point,
Mhm.
and then off the screen. But even though it's off the screen, you still need that that line that goes to the vanishing point. Let me check something. All right. Yeah, you have it going all the way to the vanishing point. So it's easier to do it that way. One idea would be is in this frame right here and in all the subsequent drawings of the wall is just to give it an actual ending position.
Mhm.
And then make sure that that ending position gets animated all the way across. And maybe the last drawing here, that this would be the position for the wall in the very last drawing. And if this isn't actually correct, you may find it to be something more like, oops, something more like this. Either one of those two positions will work. All right, it's looking good. Take my suggestions for the timing and have as much done for next week as I can, as you can see, so that I can give you critique on it. All right, so let us jump back to all right, so Elsa, did we look at this one yet?
That
Yep.
might just be the same thing, but an older version.
Let's just take a quick look at it.
Oh, it's just the same thing.
Same thing. Okay, you got your notes on that one.
Yeah.
All right, and then just to be concise here, let's just take a look at Rachel's. Just to make sure I'm not missing anything.
I think this is just my head turn that I redid.
Right. But yeah, it looks pretty good, right? Are you happy with it?
I like the beginning. I feel like towards the end, I was drawing her face a little weirdly, but
Yeah.
overall, I think I like the timing generally.
I think that one thing that might just kind of snap up the whole thing would be, I think this timing is good here. Right there, hold that frame right there. Because
Okay.
think about the narrative. Oh my God, mom is so stupid. Oh my God, my mom is so stupid. What did she do now? Oh my God, what is she thinking of? Right before he raises his hands up, hold that pose. Hold that
Okay.
pose right there for as long as you feel it's more comfortable. And then I think you've got the basic of the timing.
Okay, and then also I turned in kind of like my rough pencil test.
For your final?
Yeah, that should be under, hold on, the final pencil tests file, I think.
Okay. Yeah, there's 3 of them hiding down there. Randy's got one. I don't know if we've seen this on Jeanette. Let's just take a look at this. We might have seen this. This is the same, right? No, that's only part of it.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, so you have your notes on that one.
Mhm.
Randy,
Same thing happened on that one.
oh no. What kind of computer do you have?
I have a ThinkPad.
I don't, is it a PC?
Yeah.
How old is it?
Last year.
It's not too bad. Is it pretty fast? Is it a good computer?
Yeah.
One thing that you may want to do before you do anything else is to go to the Rough Animator website and tell the guy, it's just one guy, that you're having problems with it and you would like to reinstall it. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and that means that you would just delete the application from your applications folder. He'll give you the code so you don't have to buy it again. And then just download it and reinstall it, because I think you've got a bug in there. So do that like now so that his answer will be in your inbox tomorrow morning.
Okay.
All right, and Rachel, you run, catch, jump. Okay. Okay.
I feel like she runs for a little too long at the beginning.
Yeah, I think that that's probably all you need to do is just trim that down a little bit. But I think that there's something clever that you can do with it. So right now, I'm just going to play it one more time. So step, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you've got this for 15 or 16 steps. And I like this composition. I like that she's running in the baseball field. I think that the lines in the background are moving correctly. You've got a nice pause right there before she comes in and catches the ball. I think you probably limited yourself with this pose because you didn't want to have her hand going off the screen, right?
Yeah.
But I would say, I don't care. Redraw this so that her hand is off the screen and the ball is off the screen as well. And then when you get to here, she's still floating backwards. And that's where she catches the ball. So in this one, get rid of the ball, erase the ball, and have her hand go all the way off the screen, just like I'm
Okay.
doing in the monitor. And then have her float to the ground. And I think you'll be happier. And you can skid like that, that's fine. So that's pretty good. Okay. So one thing that you can do at the beginning here is play the numbers game. We just calculated that there were 16 steps. And we both agree that that's too many. But let's take the clip from about right here, right? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit play and we're gonna count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there was way too many steps. So I'm gonna put the clip right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's good. 8 steps,
Okay.
right? So count backwards from the cut, count backwards from this cut right here, and just give her 8 steps, right?
Yeah.
And then I like this timing here. And this is reading to me, which is 3 seconds, which is somewhere around 72 frames or something. But I think that what might be clever is take this and do another cut. Something like this. Okay. And
Okay.
use the same running in place animation. It's the exact same running in place animation for this amount of time right here. And again, this might be 72 frames.
So you're saying that should be at the beginning or
Yes, yes.
okay.
So it's a cut. The camera is in a mid shot on her. She's running for 72 frames. And then you cut to this right here. And then there's 8 steps and then the cut and continue. And this is that little part where you have to redraw right there. And I think that you'll find that to be happier. So she's going to take 72 frames of running in place in this mid shot right here. And,
Okay.
and then see, and all that is really copying and pasting and resizing. How many, you have like 10 drawings in the run cycle?
I think it's 12.
12. So whatever you have to do is just, copy and paste them and get them to resize so that she's in the middle of the screen. So her head and right where her waist is so you're not going to need her legs, right? But you do want to make sure that you've got the up and down motion correct. So you're just
Okay.
going to copy and paste the 12 frames. And then once you've got the 12 frames copied and pasted correctly, then copy and paste them in the timeline so that they're cycling, right?
Okay.
And at that point, I think that you might want to investigate what it would look like if she's looking backwards. And so just get her head looking that way.
Okay.
Same animation, just flip the head. Just flip the head. And I know that sounds weird, but flip the head. All right, do you want to take a picture of that one?
Sure. Okay, I got it.
Got it, okay. All right, I think that was everything. Did I miss anything that anyone submitted and would like a critique on? Did I get everything?
I put something in the this week area.
Okay, and that is Elsa?
Maria,
Ria, okay. That was final pencil test? Oh, no, wait. When did you put it in there?
I put in the keys for week 16.
Okay. I think the timing is really great. I think you should be really happy with this. I'm running it back in my mind again. I think it looks great. Okay, how much are you gonna do on the water?
Probably a little bit more than that. I'm not too sure. I just kind of added a splash.
And we went, we did a water splash,
Yeah, we
right?
did the water splash.
So when you're drawing the water splash here, just go to any Google window. And I'm commanding you to type in 2D animation water splash. And you'll get a lot of good stuff just by writing water splash. But put in Joe Gilland. He wrote the book on it. He was my supervisor on James and the Giant Peach, one of my supervisors, Joe Gilland. And then switch it to images. And you're gonna get, you know, like this is fabulous, right? Oh my God, look at how beautiful that is. Now, I think that you need to simplify this a little bit. So don't do so many little jagged edges, but try something like this. And then the sequencing is the same as we did in our water splash for this class. But this is a good one because all it needs is you just kind of lift this and put it in your little film, and then get the water to come before it and the water to go after it. So there is I'm only seeing one thing that kind of would add a little bit to this, and that is that your frog is just kind of sitting here and the fly is just moving around. So at the very first part here, the animator's option is to have his eyes follow the fly, but it might be really difficult to get like whatever size of the pupil that you've got, you know, because you've got these big pupils that you're going to end up coloring in, right?
Yep, yep.
And it might be rather difficult to get this big thing here to animate from this position into like this position. You could try it, you know, and see how that works, so that you get it from the position that you have, just so that he's looking down, and then back up again. And you only need like 3 or 4 eye positions for him following the little fly, right? The other option, if this doesn't work really cleanly, the other option is just to have him blink. So you can hold that part a little longer. You could hold this just a little bit longer, have this cycling a little bit longer, and then just put his blink in there.
Yeah, that can work.
Try the eye following first. And even with that eye following, you might need to extend this and add a little bit of frames in here, just as it is. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Looks good. Looks really good.
Yeah.
You're happy with it. And all your roommates are,
Yep.
or all your classmates are mad. You could build an anticipation before he runs, right?
Yeah.
So when he's standing there, you got a really great key position there, but you just blast out of it. So you could put an anticipation there, because right now he just blasts. Put an anticipation before he starts to run.
Yeah.
Got it.
sounds
Okay,
good.
thank you, Ria.
You're welcome.
All right, did I miss anybody? Did I miss anything? Everybody got it? I don't know if I put mine in the right place. At least that was an hour ago. Okay, as much as you can do for next week so that I can get my eyes on it. And then we go into just finals in 2 weeks from now. Everything is looking really good. Remember that those folders are coded to be open until the end of May. So I might just rename the folder. Or wait, what did I do? Did I rename it already? I think I might have renamed it already. I thought I renamed it this afternoon. Yeah, this one's his final pencil test. So just use this folder for your final. And I'll make sure that the points are correct. All right, we'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good week.
Thank you, Billy.
Okay,
Thank
ciao,
you.
ciao.